Well, welcome to another edition of Wednesday virtual tasting of the featured Effin' Beer of the Week. We've got a pretty cool beer to taste, and I can't wait to try it with you guys. It's called our Double Coconut Duck. So it's the Imperial version of our Christmas Duck Porter, and it's got coconut in it. So that's going to be pretty exciting. We release it this weekend in our curbside pickup in growler fills only, and I hope it tastes as well as I think it's going to. Here's a coconut right here. We're not going to be cracking that coconut open tonight, but here's the beer right there. So let's talk about it a little bit. This beer is a big beer. This is an Imperial version of a porter, and it weighs in at 9.8% alcohol by volume. That'll get your body warmed up in these cooler days we've been having, cooler nights. It's got 66 IBUs, and we start this when we are done boiling. Our original gravity is at 1.089, and our terminal gravity comes to 1.018. So it's got pretty good mouthfeel, pretty full balanced. It's a big beer. It's bold. It should come out really, really nice. So color is 79.5. You can see it's very, very dark. No light goes through there. And we did a third of a barrel, so 10.5 gallons. We used Dublin water, and the yeast we used was the Fuller's yeast White Labs 002. That's all those details. And so the malts, we've got 6 different malts in this beer. We'll run them down here, because if you're a home brewer and you want to replicate this, something like this at home, take these notes and play with it and make it your own. 63% of the malt bill is Rar Alex 2-row, 24 pounds, and that comes from Alberta, Canada. It's a great 2-row. We use 4 pounds of Weyermann's Munich malt, which is 10.5%, 2 pounds of crisp Crystal 45, which is 5%, and 2 pounds of crisp 120. That's another 2 pounds for a 5.3, 4 pounds of crisp chocolate malt, which is 10.5, and then 2 pounds of crisp roasted barley, which gives us another 5%. All that is mashed in at 158 degrees, which is a pretty warm temp, but we want that longer chain sugars. We don't want to ferment too dry, too clean. We want to leave that full body out there. We want that flavor left in the beer. So 158 for 60 minutes. Sparge it with 170 degree water. Collect all of our sugars in our boil kettle and boil it for 1 hour. When we hit the first boil and we clock our time, 60 minutes to go, we put in 4 ounces of cluster hops, 50 IBUs, which is really, really an interesting hop, and it's a great bittering hop for this beer. 30 minutes left, we add 2 ounces of both UK Goldings and UK Fuggles, and that's going to give us, what does it give us? About 15, 16 IBUs left, and that's our only hop additions. We boil it all the way through and transfer it to fermenter at 65 degrees, let it rise to 68 over the course of time. Then we pull it out and we put it into secondary, and we added 32 ounces of Chelaka, their coconut. And so we split it between 2 batches, and we put it in at 32 degrees to clarify the beer. And then we kegged it up, and we carbonated it at 1.5 volumes, our typical English volume scale. And the result is this thing of beauty, and let's just take a smell of this beer. So I don't smell any coconut, but I get rich, roasty, chocolatey, coffee. Those are the smell. Maybe a little, maybe just a tad sweetness of maybe a little coconut. Wow, that's a big mouthful, chewy, chocolate, coffee, just rich. I get a lot of chocolate out of that. Just intense flavor. It's not leaving the front or middle of my mouth. The back end, it's pretty dry. And I'm getting a little bit of coconut flavor on the back end. That's where the coconut's coming up. Not in the sweetness, but that coconut flavor. And so when you cook with coconut, put coconut in foods and things, coconut typically doesn't have a lot of that sweetness to it. It has that just great earthy coconut flavor, and that's what I'm picking up on this. It is a big flavor. I only poured this about 5 minutes before we started the show, so it's a little on the cool side. I think warming up is going to bring out more flavors, but I'll tell you what, this is full-bodied, full flavor, big in every regards. It fills your mouth. You can feel it on the sides, on the top of your roof of your mouth, and the sides of your cheeks, and under your tongue. It doesn't let anything escape, and it's just wonderful flavor. Big and bold. There's nothing obnoxious about it at all. It's just its intensity of just deliciousness. Let me take another drink here. Wow, it's incredible, and at 9.8% alcohol, that you do feel a little bit of heat on the back part of your tongue from the alcohol, but it's so smooth that it's intense. It's intensely good. It's just so much goodness there, and it's like a great dessert. It's a great finish. So delicious. So you can get it in 32 ounce and 64 ounce growler fills this weekend. It is $28. It's expensive beer to make. Big beer, 9.8% alcohol. It's one that you're going to probably want to drink in maybe smaller size glasses. But I'd actually drink this a little bit warmer. I think I would want to drink this about 50 degrees, maybe even 52. I think more flavor is going to come out of it, but it is cold. It's about 40 degrees right now, this beer, and I'm not missing any of the depth of it or any of the flavor. Now, $28 for a growler fill. Let me show you something here. I'll be right back. If you're interested in saving some money, this is your ticket to saving money. It's a prepaid growler fill card, and there's 12 fills on it, and it's $150. So you think about it, on this one, for one spot, so 1/12 of it, you would get $28 value on it. Now, our growler fills are 16, most of the beers, 22 sometimes, and 28 very rarely when we do an exceptionally big beer, expensive beer to make. And you think about that, is you're going to save a lot of money, and you get 12 fills for that $150. This may be the weekend you want to do it. So when you do your curbside pickup orders, you may want to just say, hey, give me a growler card, and I think that's what I would do. If you're going to be buying our growlers, you're going to save money. Even at $16 fills, you're going to save some money. So think about that, the prepaid growler card. So let's I'm going to jump right into some questions here, because I see some activity on the board here, and we've got well, first of all, watching, and I thank you for everybody who's watching. We've got Kim and Stephanie and Lee and Vicky and Mike and Roxanne and Zach. And Zach's watching with his mom. She's got a Vienna lager, and he's got a bit of beaver. We've got John, and Zach says, does the recipe compare to the Christmas duck? Well, the recipe for the beer is exactly how we did our double chocolate duck, and we released that in June, I believe. The only difference is, instead of putting the unsweetened Chelaka chocolate, we put the unsweetened Chelaka coconut this time. And it is quite different than the duck recipe. A lot of the things are similar, but we don't put in Munich malt in the duck, and we don't put cluster hops, and we don't mash it in that hot to make it that big of mouthfeel. Zach says, have you done a double duck before with no coconut? Well, we have done a double duck before. A long time. I can't remember the last time we did double duck, and I don't remember it being this good, and I think the double duck recipe is a little bit different than the double chocolate or double coconut duck. Is the cottage going to have this one on tap? Well, I don't know. I think that you guys are going to buy all it up, and we won't have any to get out into distribution. It's up to you guys. How do you think this would do on a cask? I think it'd do well at cask. The problem with a cask on a big beer like this is you only have 3 days really for a cask to drink it, and on a big beer you're not going to go through quite as much as you would on a smaller beer. So I think it'd be tough to. I think you have a lot of waste on it. And then we've got Dave and Nancy. And would you recommend as a food pairing? My mom says vanilla ice cream. It would go great with any kind of dessert. I think it'd be awesome with vanilla ice cream, chocolate ice cream, even strawberry ice cream. I think those flavors would go really well together. I think go good with cookies. Maybe it'd be insanely delicious with like a fudge brownie or something like that. I think dessert's where you want to go with it. I don't know if this is one you're going to want to pair with a Italian dinner or some. I didn't think with a steak would be that good. I think you want to drink it after dinner and enjoy it with or without other desserts items. And we got Rose watching. How many pints of coconut double duck do you recommend consuming on election night? Well, depending on. I don't want to get in a political debate here, but depending who you are voting for and what initiatives you're after and who you're supporting and how the election goes, you may be needing to drink a lot that night. But make sure you do it at home. If you do it, we don't want anyone on the road. So you want to... I'm sure that half the people in the country are going to be happy and half the people in the country will be upset no matter what happens. So I would stock up double this weekend because you're going to want it for the weekend and then you're going to want it for Tuesday night. And actually, they say it could be several days before we know what the election results are. So you may need like triple or 4 times the amount of beer this weekend to get you through the whole results. So we've also got Judy is watching, and Stephanie says probably good on a beach in Maui. Well, let me just put my mind. Sun, sand, ocean, warmth, Maui. Okay, I'm tranquil right now. Let me try it. So you may have dialed it in, Stephanie. I think that is the perfect combination. On the beach in Maui with this beer. And I'd want it on the colder side there because it's going to warm up really fast when I get it. Rose says several pints. I think that would be a great recommendation. Hey, Gary, thanks for joining. So this is really incredible beer. We have, let's see, we've got 18 pints left of it. So, well, no, we have 17 because just got another order right before here. So, not pints, growler fills, 17 growler fills. And I assume after this we're going to get a much more orders. So it's going to be one. It's going to go. I bet you if we don't sell, it's going to be close. Thanks for joining us, Mark. Yeah, this is good. So I wouldn't be afraid of. A lot of people are afraid of Imperial beers, and some of them are just so over the top, and they're difficult to drink, and they're one-dimensional. This is not one-dimensional at all. There's so much complexity and flavor going on that this is nothing to be afraid of. Other people are afraid of dark beers. They think they're too thick. They're like oil, or they think because they don't know. This is nothing like that either. This is total deliciousness. There's nothing to be afraid of in this beer. It is gorgeous beer. It's delicious. It's well balanced. You get so many subtle flavors because, after my last taste, I'm still tasting in the front of my tongue some of those chocolate tones and some of those coffee tones. I'm getting still some of that warmth, the alcohol in my back of my tongue, and I'm getting that coconut dry finish in the back of my tongue and start at my top of my throat. So there's a lot in here, and it's one that you're going to want to drink slower because you want to really enjoy it. I wouldn't drink too much at one time because you can only absorb so much of the flavor and the sensations of it. You don't want it to all go way too fast. Zach is on a different subject. Do you think the taste of the fresh hop beers have already changed significantly? How long do they... I'm going to cut you out there. I'll see if I can get the rest of your comment. So I had, how long do they stay fresh? Well, you want to drink fresh hop beers, relatively fresh. Now that I've got them, we're on our last bits of these, so you can still get some this weekend. And if you haven't had our fresh hop beers, they're both outstanding. And if you want to see my impressions on them, you can go back a few weeks ago on our Facebook page, and I archived these so you can watch them again, and you can see my overall impression on both the fresh hop beers. But there are still some left. They're $16 for each growler fill. We have an English fresh hop, and then we have an American fresh hop. But I would say that, when you get it home, you want to drink it in a couple of days. I mean, you get it on a Friday or Saturday, drink it that weekend, or drink it before the next weekend, is what I would say. You want it as fresh as possible. So we got Jeff joined us, and Barbara's watching, and I find that your dark beers are less oily than others. I don't know why. Maybe the English ingredients that we use. When we use hop pellets, we're not using any hop oils, and that could have something to do with it as well. We are unfiltered, though, but I think because we do 7 days cold conditioning that we're getting all the oils to drop out of solution, and it gives our beer just pure beer. That could be a lot of it. It is. Now it's warmed up a little bit more. And I'll have to say that I'm getting more coconut up front than I did. I think it was too cold to pick up that coconut in my first few tastes. So I would bet it's maybe, it's still pretty cold, but maybe 45 degrees. But more coconut is coming out. But not on the sweet side. It's just that coconut essence, the coconut earthiness out of it. Because coconut itself, if you're open to coconut up and cracked it open and peeled that white coconut meat out of there, and it's not really a sweet thing to eat. So, and I'm not getting the sweet character out of it. This is not a sweet beer. So if you're looking for something sweet, this is not it. If you're looking for things that aren't sweet, this is the one you want. Let's go over the recipe really quick one more time here, and take some notes if you want, or you can watch this re-recorded when it's archived on our Facebook page. But double Coconut Duck is an Imperial porter. It's 9.8% alcohol by volume, and it has 66 IBUs. And so we have 6 malts, and we have Alex two-row from RAR, which is really a North American two-row. This one comes from Alberta, Canada. It's 24 pounds for 63%, and this is a 15.5-gallon batch, or a third of a barrel. We also have 4 pounds of Weirmann's Munich malt, 10.5%. We have 4 pounds of crisp chocolate malt, 10.5%. Then we have 2 pounds of each of crisp 45, crisp 120, and crisp roasted barley, each at 5%. Those are all matched in 158 degrees. And so that gives you a little bit longer chain sugar, harder to convert to the alcohol. We let it ferment for 2 weeks. Pitched it at 65, let it raise to 68. We wanted to keep that big mouthfeel in there, and I think we've accomplished that really, really well. We take it out after 2 weeks, and we put it into secondary, and we added 32 ounces of unsweetened Chilaka coconut, and that stayed in there 7 days at 32 degrees. Kegged it, and we forced carbonate to 1.5 volumes. The result is deliciousness in a glass. I tell you, that is. And you can see the legs on it. As I'm doing this, you can see the alcohol clinging to the glass. When you move this, and you can see that it holds on to the glass, the color, as you go up and down. That is the alcohol level on it, that it kind of clings. When the lower the alcohol, it doesn't tend to cling at all onto the side of the glass. Rose says this beer sounds perfect. I think this is the perfect beer for the weekend. This would be the perfect beer to be handing out Halloween candy if anyone comes to your door. Or don't encourage people to go out in public with alcohol, but if you have to go out in the street with kids, make sure you put it in a safe container and not in a glass. Make sure it's something that won't break if it falls down. And this will keep you warm as you're taking the kids around trick-or-treating. Better yet, when you're done trick-or-treating, I would pour a glass of this before I left the house, and when you come back after the trick-or-treating, it'll warm up a little bit, and it'll be the perfect temp for you. And you'll have your Halloween treat waiting for you. That's what I would do. So, if there's no more questions, let me tell you what's happening tomorrow. We have our happy half hour. It's at 5:30 on Facebook Live. A little music, a little piano, a little song, a little humor, and it's just the official way to start the weekend. And you want to get your weekend off to a great start. So join us at 5:30 on Facebook Live, and we will make sure you have a good send off for the weekend. And then next Wednesday we are bringing back. Our most critically acclaimed beer is Wasky. It's a Burton Ale. We're going to do another virtual tasting on Wasky. We just are going to be doing some more bottling on it, and we'll have some fresh bottles that you can pick up and learn more about it next Wednesday. And it's a beer that if you haven't had it, you've got to try Wasky. You got to pick up a bottle or two, one to drink now and one to age, because it really is a beer that was intended to be aged before it was drank. So that's it. Curbside pickup this weekend, 4 to 5 p.m. on both Friday and Saturday. How do you know what we got available? Go to our webpage, foggynogginbrewing.com. Hit the beer tab. All the details are there, and you can find out what you want. You send us an email. We send you an invoice. You pay it. You drive up, and you get it handed through the door or in your trunk, whatever makes you most comfortable, and you take it home safely, and you enjoy your weekend. So we got a question from Zach. So basically the coconut just sat in for about a week after the beer was brewed and before it was forced carbonated. That's exactly what happened, Zach. That's exactly right. And I think this is the way to do the coconut, because before we opened the brewery doing some test batches, we did a coconut porter with our Christmas duck, and we pan roasted the coconut right here, and we put it into the fermenters, and it tasted good, but it was a disaster. And I said, I'll never do it again that way, because it was a mess. And so I think we found the right way to do it this time, and I'm pretty happy with the results. I think a double coffee duck would be a good beer too, and that might be something we put on the horizon. You didn't hear it here, but in the fermenter right now is another batch of our double chocolate duck, and so that'll be coming out maybe in 2-3 weeks. So don't get your hopes up yet too high, because we haven't sent out our monthly newsletter, and that'll be coming out, and you'll get all the details for each week. If you aren't getting our monthly newsletter, this email, we only send one email out a week. Send me an email to foggynogginbrewing@comcast.net. Say, add me to your email list, because that's going to go out next week, and you get all the details on everything going on at Foggy Noggin for the month of November. So tomorrow, 5:30, happy half hour. Next Wednesday, virtual tasting with Wasky, our Burton Ale. And this weekend, 4 to 5 p.m., Friday, Saturday, curbside pickup. Don't be out of beer after the weekend. You want beer for Tuesday night's election, and you really don't want to be caught empty-handed is the right word. And Zach says, my parents like the sound of the double coffee duck. It's something I kind of interested in doing, and so we may do it. That might be something to add. And hey, Craig, you joined right at the end, so we're going to sign off, but you can watch this thing right from the beginning. As soon as I post it on our Facebook page, everybody can watch it again. Thanks for joining, everybody, and stay safe out there. See you tomorrow night, happy half hour, this weekend for Curbside, and next week for another version of virtual tasting of the featured effing beer. Cheers, everyone.